want to introduce you a little bit to them. You'll be able to learn a lot about them on the website, which I'll put the link in below, and obviously by following this Facebook page, but just to give you a little bit of insight. So in alphabetical order, I have no favorites. We start off with Audrey. So Audrey's in her 40s, and like many people at that stage of their lives, she's worrying about retirement and trying to pay for her children's tertiary education. So how does she balance those two? That's one of the things we're going to unpack for Audrey. Audrey also has a desire to one day own her own preschool, so we're looking into that as her side business. Then we have Gugu. Gugu's, for me, is a real typical 30-year-old, early 30s. We've all been there. I've been there. If you're in your early 30s, you're there now. And that's like, what have I done? I've worked for the last 5-7 years. What do I have to show for it? And it's always that sense of, I'm not where I thought I should be. So we're going to sit down and look at Gugu and understand what is it that she needs, what is it that she feels she needs to be where she wants to be. And of course, debt always plays a big part of this. When we get our first paychecks, we tend to spend them rather than save them. So we're going to be looking at that. And Gugu also has some ideas about a business, taking her cake business and developing it into a bread making business. So we're going to be working with her on that as well. And then we have Dilem. And Dilem is a sole breadwinner and supporting family and tithing to his church and all of those things. So he's feeling this immense pressure financially. And again, I think very typical of many, many South African households. And we're looking at ways that he can help his family help themselves. So he wants to start a business that will employ his extended family so he doesn't have to keep supporting them, which I think is a really, really brilliant strategy to get the family off the payroll. And then we have Mareka. And Mareka is a single mom. And Mareka, interestingly enough, does not have a lot of debt. Her problem is not that she's paying off cars or expensive debt. Her problem is simply that her income from being a foundation phase teacher is just not enough. So she really needs to look for an additional income. And her additional income is to expand her love of baking. And we're going to be looking at how to develop almost like a little bit of a home industry out of your kitchen. And Mkawe is in Mpumalanga, and she's, in a similar situation, perhaps, that she's in her late 30s, she's got young children, she's worrying about whether she's saved enough, has enough money for them, but also she's got a lot of car debt. And we're going to be having to look very carefully at her choices around the cars she's chosen to drive and whether or not she can trade out of them. She also has a dream to one day be a poultry farmer. So we're going to be unpacking that for her as well. And finally, last but certainly not least, we have Stefan. And Stefan is 26, newly married, and has all those dreams that newly married couples have. They need to start planning for a family. They want to buy a home. And how do they do that? And again, they're young. They kind of have found that debt is a really quick way to get what they want, but have now realized that debt takes a long time to pay off. So we've got to really help them shift the mindset away from borrowing and paying back to saving for what you want. And Stefan is the one with the most developed business. He actually has a vape shop that is already covering its costs. So we want to see how do we take that vape shop and grow it so it's not just covering its costs, but actually generating him a really good income. So those are the candidates. That's the journey we're going to travel. Please sign up for the newsletter. Make sure you follow these pages and share the journey with us.